And they are the best of the best. East meets West tonight. 68 of the best players in the state of Kansas. Hometown heroes all in the 34th Annual Shrine Bowl. We are in Hayes Campus on the campus of Fort Hays State University. And what can I say, Stan Weber? It's always great to be here. And congratulations on doing your 20th Shrine Bowl game. Always great to work with you. And certainly a tradition of this game that's second to no other. And I know you were talking about, as we were kind of getting ready to go here, that this is a game where you once practiced here to get ready for a Shrine Bowl game. This must bring back memories.
It brings back a lot of memories out here in Hayes, Kansas. You know, this is the only second time that this game has been played here. It was also played here in 1997, but they used to practice out here, and the West squad actually spent 2 weeks here, and we were sequestered away practicing football, and we came together like never before, led to a victory, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we were out here by ourselves in Hayes, and it's so good to be back with a live game.
I think it's important that introductions are kind of in order. Who these players are, they've been selected by media members. The Shrine Bowl people, they do not have a vote in this, and there have been some players that were selected for this ball game that have had to back out because of other commitments. But the players that are in this game, they're fully committed. They have both feet into this, and they should be commended for the way that they've kind of come and ready to work on this game.
Well, both teams really have worked, and these guys are doing a great job of running with their strong legs so the Shriner kids' weak legs can walk. That's the motto of the Shrine Bowl, and it's so true. And when you talk about these players, the rules have changed over the years. In the 34th game here in the Shrine Bowl, now you can have a maximum of 2 players from any school, and there are going to be 2 8-man players on each team. So we're getting great representation around the state. And the thing that we've noticed is the play hasn't changed. There's still excellent football being played, even though we're distributing it throughout more schools.
I think it's also important to mention that the way the state is divided, they just don't cut it right down the middle. They cut it at sort of an angle because of enrollments. So, for example, Manhattan, who you may think of as an East school, is really a West school, whereas a school like Madison, who you may think of as an East school because it's underneath Emporia by about 20 miles, they're playing with a West team. It's an interesting contrast of players because traditionally we think about the state of Kansas, we think about the West and really a big just gunnerman at you. The East, more of a finesse sort of leagues, but that's really not the case. You kind of have a mix of both here.
Yeah, they divide this by population, and obviously the teams have come out very fair. Last year, a 1-point ball game. The West still is a very physical group. We don't want to cut them down, right. But the East has learned how to play physically, and now everyone's trying to be faster on the football field in the NFL, college football, and high school. And we're seeing that when you look at the West players. There's much more speed out here, and the game's pretty even. We still have a slight advantage in speed for the East over the West tonight, but we probably won't notice because the West squad has won this game the majority of the time. I think it's 19-13-1 so far in the series, advantage West.
I heard you mention that back in your day they had 2 weeks to prepare. Now it's about 10 days, 9 or 10 days, and really by the hospital visit kind of takes away a day. What do the coaches do? What's their strategy when they come into this and they say, well, we got to have an offense and defense? Normally the coaches will use their own offense and defense and kind of teach it to the assistant coaches. Is that the case again?
Yeah, the offensive coaches will be the head coaches, and they'll go with their offense. They'll simplify it a little bit compared to what they use in the fall at their high school, and especially with the shortened schedule. I mean, this is a situation where you've got to learn these plays very quickly, and they work fast. Now, on the defensive side, it's never been more complicated. It leads to better football, but it's not the old 50 defense and no blitzes. Now you have the option to run a 4-3 or a 50 defense, and then guess what? You can stunt, you can blitz. So the defensive players have got to learn more than they ever have in the history of the Shrine Bowl, and have got to do it in a shorter period of time. It's amazing what these defensive players are able to do.
And I was thinking as I watched preparations this week in Emporia and Salina, traditionally a football team comes together in a camp, the defense is ahead of the offense because defense is easier to learn, and really that's the case. Your offense is really particularly difficult to learn, but special teams above everything else is really a difficult skill to learn. How those guys get so well in this game and get their special teams together?
It's the hardest thing to do because you're going to focus on offense and defense, obviously. How do you get your special teams in? But the one advantage you have is these guys are all stars. They can run, they can hit, they have great instinct. So they may not be trained in what the play is going to be, but they have a natural ability to go make it happen, and you don't notice that it's very little practice time spent on special teams when these teams go at it.
All right, so we've talked about the who and the what and the where. Let's talk about the why, and that involves the hospital visit and the cause of the Shriners Hospital. Let me introduce you, Matt Kelly. Matt, I know you're kind of a veteran, as Stan is a veteran of doing this game color. You're a veteran going to these hospitals. Talk about the hospital visits, the ones you've been on, and what this one in particular was like.
Yeah, Stan, I never played. I was a basketball player in high school back up in Nebraska. In Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas now, I've been able to go on the Shrine Bowl trips with teams from those respective states a total of 5 times. This trip last Saturday that I took with the Kansas Shrine teams, well, it was no different because by the end of the trip, all these players and even some of the coaches and their wives that were on the trip were different for a number of reasons. For many of the 115 members of the Kansas Shrine Bowl delegation, the trip to St. Louis provided some firsts.
How are you?
There's several of these boys that were nervous about flying. They'd never been in a plane before, and they didn't know if they were going to be okay. And so they get on a plane for the first time, and they take off and land for the first time, and that's a jarring experience.
Safely on the ground, the first-time flyers and the rest of the crew from Kansas boarded 2 buses and made the organization's first ever stop at the St. Louis Rams training facility.
Oh, this is nice. He's got like 15 pairs of shoes. Is that Dante Hall?
What do you think about him being in St. Louis now?
I think it was a bad decision by the Chiefs, but you got to do what you got to do, you know.
From Rams camp, it was on to lunch and finally to the Shriners Hospital for Children, where for the first time, this year's Shrine participants were introduced to some of the young people who will benefit the most from the funds raised as a result of the 2007 Shrine Bowl.
It was fun to know what we're playing for, and to come here and see all of them. And when we first walked in, all their smiles just, lit up the whole room, and everybody wants your autograph, and I'm asking for their autographs too, because they're winners too. So it's real fun, and it's a humbling experience.
It makes me feel really, really good. I feel real warm about it, because for these guys to take time out and come and just spend some time with the kids with disabilities, it makes me feel so special to have Sophie and have her go through this too.
Oh no, thank you, Sophie. Thank you. No problem.
I didn't really know what to expect coming in here, but these kids are normal people just like you and me, and they just need a lot of love. Just reach out to them and do all I can for them. Seeing all these kids and kind of opens up your eyes to how good you really have it. You don't really think about that stuff until you come to a place like this.
Joshua down to 44 east side.
That's 10. That's 10 to 2.
Oh, you gonna bring that up? The air hockey game, okay. I think he's been practicing because he really got skills. He's doing the bank shots, and he even threw my focus off a little bit, made me look away, and he scored on me. He beat me 10 to 2, but I play football better than that. Play football way better than that.
Every penny that's raised goes to kids like me, so they're family. They are a part of this family now. They have donated, they care. We're getting to see their hearts today. So I said I expect a hug from every single person, and I got a hug from every single person. So I would say 100 to 120, 150 maybe.
In St. Louis, I'm Matt Kelly.
Another one.
That was before I knew I was going to be down here on the sideline. So, and you know what? Like you said, you're fortunate to have been involved with this for 20 years. As a player, you were also involved with this, taking a Shrine trip like that. I have not played in this, but I've been changed every time that I've gone on a trip like that, because you really do realize, and it's really neat to see kids that, for the most part are the cream of the crop and probably have had a lot of accolades and great athletic ability, and then they go and they really see what they're playing this game for, and it's really a humbling experience.
Well, you said it very well. It is very humbling, and it's very changing. When you go, you're just a kid out of high school. You have no idea that you can affect the world, and suddenly you're put in a situation where you see other people who are in less fortunate situations but are getting a chance because of the Shriners, and then the Shriners tell you, you know what, you're really helping. You drive this by getting people involved and paying some money to watch you play football, and suddenly you learn about volunteering and contributing to society, and you come out totally changed. An hour or two with those kids, and you'll never be the same. I wish everyone could experience it, but it's not better than being a player and being 17 or 18 years old. It's the perfect time to have that experience.
And putting others first, in a couple of words, that really is what this is all about tonight. Matt is going to join us throughout the ball game from the sidelines. Nice work in St. Louis, and I'm sure it was a really terrific job.
Oh man, it was awesome. And the cool thing is they made their first ever stop at the St. Louis Rams facility, and on that same day in St. Louis, they normally go to the Arch, and there was a elevator problem there where 200 people got stuck. So I think we made the right choice in going to the Rams facility.
I think you did. I'm glad you weren't caught in the arch. Thanks a lot, Matt.
It might have been better video, but you know.
Thanks, I appreciate it a lot. Let's talk about the visiting team on the scoreboard. That'll be the youth team. I think it centers around Demetrius Bell. Certainly, he's a running back headed to K-State. In a word or two, what do you see the East team looking like?
Well, the East has a very exciting offense. They run a flex bone offense, which means that they can get into a passing situation very quickly. But what they like to do is put people in motion and run the option. You get the ball to D. Bell, the fastest guy out there on the field tonight, and you have some explosiveness. But this is going to be an intricate running offense. This is old school Kansas high school football. That's what we expect from the East. It's been a great camp. The kids have really been good. Talking to the coaches, they couldn't be happier with the way the East players have acted going into this ball game.
East team has practiced at Emporia. Here's a look at the East camp, courtesy of J.B. Bowersfeld from WIBW TV in Topeka. The East camp in Emporia.
Just because this is an all-star game doesn't mean players are getting the all-star treatment.
Well, coming in, you know, you think practice is going to be laid back, but it's not. I mean, it's full scale out here. I mean, you got great athletes out here that want to hit. First time I got hit, I mean, it felt hard. I mean, I still feel it right now.
Coach Blake Pierce's 3-a-day practices have players testing their limits.
We had to get up early and then would come back, eat, come back in the afternoon, practice, eat, come back in the evening, practice. And by then everybody's body language is, you know, a little soggy, going into bed and ready to sleep.
If any group of players is up to the grueling task, though, it's this one.
These are the greatest players in the state, and I'm just thinking if I can compete with them, there's a chance, you know, I can compete with most anybody because we've got some great athletes here.
For the East squad, football's not the question. In fact, every player on this team was either an all-city, all-league, or an all-state selection. The new experience was heading to the Shriners Hospital in St. Louis, where it helped them realize how important this really is.
It's pretty life-changing. I mean, going to that hospital, seeing those kids, I mean, they go through some tough times, but they're pretty positive, and this is all a good experience.
That was an eye-opener for those guys, and they understand completely from that trip, and that was really a special thing. That's probably my fondest memory of the whole trip.
And the kids, they were all happy, you know, no matter what, they were all just having a good time, and I'm glad to be here, you know, doing it for the kids.
And now that the athletes know who they're playing for, they can concentrate on the X's and O's.
It's going to be a good game. They got some big boys over here, but I think we might have a little bit more speed. But it'll be a good game, and hopefully we can come away with it.
But win, lose, or draw, this will be an experience all those involved will take with them for a lifetime.
You know, just the unity of getting together with the other players and becoming friends and remembering the experience of it all. And you know, the Shriners talk about having fun with a purpose, and I think that's a great lesson for these guys, that you can do things that are for a good cause and actually have fun while they're doing it. And I think they learned that.
1, 2, 3, east side! J.B. Bowersfeld for the Shrine Bowl Network.
Which is why the players didn't complain about the 3-day workouts once they got here. And they're really forced to do that. They get in, there's no warm-up. They're in practice right away. It's really a challenge for these guys to get ready for this game.
It is, and you can hear the band in the background. They've been practicing all week, too, 8 hours a day. So we got a lot of people to talk about tonight.
All right, so we're going to talk about the West team next. We're going to go to Salina, St. John's Military Academy. You're watching the Shrine Bowl, the 34th annual game for the campus of Fort Hays State University in Hays. We'll be back right after this.
The Shrine Bowl is proudly sponsored by AT&T.
Shriners, giving help and hope to kids for over 80 years. A gasoline explosion left young Dan Carroll's life hanging in the balance. Then a local Shriner heard about the accident.
Almost immediately, magic started happening.
Shriners hospitals offer expert orthopedic and burn medical care totally free of charge.
Without the Shriners, I wouldn't be here right now.
Today, Dan has a bright future as a professional jazz drummer. If you know a child that the Shriners could help, call for more information.
Taking a chance can pay off big in a game show, but you shouldn't take chances with your child's health.
Shriners Hospitals provide world-class orthopedic and burn medical care to children totally free of charge. And they combine that care with leading-edge research and an outstanding teaching.